Katrina here from Scrappy Horses. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So happy to have you here. Today I'm working on a horse riding journal for the new year. And that's the theme over at Paper Alamo Challenges. Now, Paper Alamo Challenges is a fun challenge because it's pretty much anything goes except greeting cards. No cards. Now, trading cards are good, tags are good, scrapbooking, 3D paper projects, journaling, journals, art journaling, all of that is good, but no cards. We even love digital. So if you're into digital crafting, we want to see it. Send it our way. So if you would like to join us, our theme is, and you have to follow the theme, is let's get it started. I will leave all the info you need in the box below if you'd like to come join us. All right, so on with my project. I'm starting us out here in Cricut Design Space just to show you how I sort of put all of this together before I actually physically put it together. And I also want to show you how I made these little paper tabs, okay? Now, you might have already in your stash some tabs that fold like this, but if you don't, I'm going to show you how to make those. All right, so let's talk about where all this came from. First off, I have my tabs that I have made, and they're from Close to My Heart Art Philosophy. I'm working with paper from Whimsy, but it is retired. And this coffee piece back here is from Bugaboo, also not available anymore. This print, however, is from Gecko Gal's Horsing Around Collage Set, and it is available, and I will link it below. There are some beautiful horse pictures there. All right, first thing to know is when you're working in Cricut Design Space, print and cut will only cut up to 6 1/4 by 9 1/4. So you can't go any bigger than that. As I was designing my book, I had to keep that in mind, and I did bump it up to the biggest I could get it, and it worked out just fine. Now, if you're unsure how to work with digital paper in Cricut Design Space, I have a video that is full of ideas on that. It's called Working with Digital Paper in Cricut Design Space, and I'll link it below. And I'll also try to remember to put the little tab, up here in the corner of your screen, the little tab shows up that you can click. I'll try to remember to do that also. But if I forget, it'll be linked in the box below. All right, so let's take a look at this, and then we can move on and talk about how I did these little tabs. All right, first off, we have behind everything. This is just a Mead composition notebook. That's all this is. I took a piece of brown craft paper or just cardstock paper and just covered it. And I cut this shape. Now, if you come over to shapes, you'll find this shape right here. Then if you want the squared off edge, all you have to do, let's come down here where we have some room. All we have to do is just slice off an edge of it. So you can take any square shape, bring it over, make it bigger than the shape you're working with, select them, and slice. And there you go. There's your shape. And then you can manipulate that, making it bigger or smaller here. All right. You can unlock it here, and so you can make it any size you want. So that takes care of that shape for us, okay? So we'll just get rid of this. And that is how I got this shape also. Now again, if you don't know how to move this paper pattern onto this or put this on, then check out this Working with Digital Paper in Cricut Design Space, and that'll show you all of that. Okay, so next is the tab. Let's talk about this tab. So I'm going to move this down here so we have lots of room to play. Okay, first off, I want to change the color of this. I want this green part to be kind of a cream color. And I'll go ahead and leave this pink. This is 2 pieces, so you know what? I'm going to flatten that. All right, so let me show you how I do that. I take it, I select, flatten, and now it's going to be a print and cut, which is what I want anyway. All right, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it 90 degrees. Now, I also could have done this up here by at my keyboard typing in 90, return, and there it is. Now, I want to duplicate that. All right, so I'm going to, what I did is I left click. I can duplicate. I'm going to bring this over. It's already selected. I'm going to flip it horizontally. All right. And then I'm going to take these 2 pieces and I'm going to align them at the bottom. All right. Now I'm just going to make this bigger so I can do that down here so you can really see what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and select just this right one, and on my keyboard I'm going to click my left arrow, and I can probably click that one more time. Okay, maybe even one more time. There we go. Now there's still a slight gap there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in, I'm going to come up here, bring in one more shape, just a square. And I'm going to change the size by unlocking it up here. I'm going to make it really skinny. And I'm just going to pull it in and put it right at the edge there. And right at the edge here. Just right where, I'll make this even bigger. Right where that kind of comes together right there. So just about the width of this would be about what I want, or the length of this, I should say. All right, and then I'm going to line it up pretty much with these white pieces. Right? Now I'm just going to come in and I'm going to flatten. Actually, I'm not going to flatten. I'm going to first make this the same color. Then I'm going to flatten. Now, if I want to, I can go a step further. I'm going to move this back up a little bit. And I'm going to come in and bring in, back to shapes. This straight line here is a fold line. So we'll make this big again so we can see. Again, I can use my keyboard if I want to and move it. And now you can see that that's right there. I select it all, hit attach, and now that's going to put that in when I cut this. Now I can rotate this 90 degrees again. And if I like, I can type in a word here. Now, I could have done this before I joined them. That would have made more sense. But let's pretend like you want a different word on each side. If you want the same word on both sides, then what you can do is you can simply go ahead and type it in and then make your duplicate, then duplicate it, and then it'll already be done. But let's say you don't. Let's say you want a different word on each side. You can come over here to text, type in what you like. Okay, so we're going to select it and we'll type in photo. We're going to size it down. We can bring it in. Now, let's say you want a different font. Then you can come up here and you can click and you can pick any font you like. I'm going to pick, just for the sake of time here, this one that says catnip. All right, now I'll just kind of stick it right up here. I'm going to unattach this for a moment, okay? You want to be careful with your fold lines that you do not flatten those because they'll print and you don't want that. Let's just see if we can select these two like this. We're going to flatten. Good, we did. Now all we have to do is reattach our fold line here. Attach. Good, we're ready to go. All right, now if you wanted to go ahead and add another word on this side, you certainly can. All right, but since I already showed you how to do that, let's just move on and let's go over to the craft table and put this book together. Okay, we have printed and cut all of our pieces, and here we are at the craft table. So we have our little tabs that we talked about, and I'm going to go ahead and score those again on a scoreboard here in a minute. You'll see me do that just because I like to get the cuts a little bit burnished in a little bit deeper. And here's our cover with everything printed on it. Here's my brown piece of cardstock and the Mead composition book. Now I'm just kind of showing you here how big this is. I basically worked with the 6.5 there. You can see how big that is. It's just a little over 6.5. And I will tell you that this ended up being just a little big for my Mead composition notebook, but I will also show you how I fixed that. Now I also have 3 file folders in here. I placed them inside my composition notebook and sketched around, and the approximate dimensions were 7 5/16 inches by 9 3/4 inches. And again, you can always trim those down if they don't fit your book exactly, and they're going to fit a little differently depending upon where you want to put them in your book. So I'm going to go trim these down, and now I'm going to use my corner rounder and just round out the corners on those 3 folders. All right, so now here's my piece of craft paper. And again, I didn't get it to fit exactly over that Mead notebook, but I got it as closely as I could. And I'm going to go ahead and take some double score tape. And I've cut my double score tape in half because it's pretty wide. So that's the reason it's not real square. Anyway, I'm going to go over it with my fabric tack so that I can manipulate that a little bit and squish it around and get it glued on. Now you saw that the edge was hanging over there, and you're going to see how I fix that here in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and bring in a pair of scissors and just trim it away, but still for some reason I just didn't get it trimmed to looking very pretty. You can see it's kind of ragged on the edge. So I brought in some sandpaper and just sanded right along the edge, and that took care of that ratty looking edge there. Now I'm going to come in and see how my little title page is going to fit, and I'm going to go ahead and go around with my my Pitt pen here. And I decided, you know what, I like that darker color better, so I went ahead and colored all the way around, so it just made my cover darker. Coming in with a piece of burlap, and I'm going to cut that ribbon down a little bit. And this is wired, so I removed the wire, but I always save my wire for another project, so I just sort of stuck that in an ice cream lid. All right, I'm going to even this up a little bit more, and I'm just going to stick that on the edge after I go ahead and put the front cover on. Again, we're just going to come in with the double score tape and the fabric tack. All right, so once I've got this done, then I will go ahead and I will start adhering that burlap ribbon, and then I will also put in a piece of dark brown GrosGrain ribbon. Now, what I did, because I missed this, I'm so sorry, but all I did is I slid it behind the cover so it shows on the inside front cover. And then I just tied it around the front, and you're going to see a picture of that. And there it is. I just tied it in a knot, sort of a horseman's knot there around that. So then we're going to come in and we're going to work on those tabs, and I'm going to go ahead and just make these fold lines just a little bit deeper, just so they fold over nice and crisp. Now, I didn't get these exactly lined up, and so you can see that I had to do a little manipulating, but that's okay. It's not a problem. All right, once we have that done, then we're going to figure out exactly where on the file folders we want to put the tabs, because we want them to stick out so you can read the words, but you don't want them sticking out so far that it's kind of a nuisance, right? So I went ahead and figured out where I wanted them and just kind of held it with my finger, and then came in with some of my fabric tack and just glued the 3 tabs into place, because I'm going to be putting these manila folders in different places in my book. Okay, so that's kind of how this works. My goal is sort of to keep track of all of my lessons, and I'm going to be transferring some of my lessons that I did last year into the beginning of this book also. I've started doing some dressage work with my Western quarter horse. He's sort of a ranch horse, actually. So this is a whole new experience for the 2 of us, and we're really having a good time. So that's why I put that picture of the little horse doing the crossover with his front legs there on the front, because that's definitely more of a dressage kind of move there, and that looks like a dressage horse to me. Later on, I can definitely come in and decorate these file folders. So when I do that, I will definitely share that with you. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to put on them yet, if I'm going to use them like sort of like scrapbook pages, or if I'm going to put some inspirational photos or quotes on there. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet, so we'll see. All right, now to attach my file folders in, I'm coming in with some brown thread. It's a real heavy duty thread, and I'm just going to tie a knot. I use this in my junk journals. I use this form of attaching pages sometimes, because that thread is now on the inside, and I can attach papers inside that folder and they will not come out. So I just fold the paper in half, slide them underneath the thread on the inside, and then I can add as many pages on the inside of those folders as I like. All right, see the thread right there? So I can just stick pages right underneath there. It's just a real easy way of putting them in, and I can move them. You know, it's not a big deal. All right, these jewelry bales I thought were really fun. I got them on sale, and they look like stirrups. So I thought, hey, that would be perfect on here. So I pulled one that I really liked, and I'm just going to tie it onto that thread. And then I'm just going to take a little blue bead and tie onto the other thread. And that will pretty much finish up this book. So, hey, any comments or questions, please leave them for me in the box below. Again, I made this for Paper a la Mode. I wholeheartedly invite you to come over and share your projects inspired by our theme. Let's get it started. Show us how you're starting off your new year, how you're organizing your life, or how you're just getting your year started off on the best foot. Thanks so much for joining me here, and I hope you have a wonderful new year, that it's full of great joy and peace, and I will catch up with you in the next video. Bye.